Hey everybody, my name is Matthew Shauna. Welcome back. We're going to do a creative edit on some underwater photos. So these photos were submitted by a follower, a friend of FLT, Brian Trennan. He had messaged me saying, Matt, love tutorials, love the content. But he goes, but the majority of my work is underwater, and I would love to get some presets for that. Do you have any? And I said, I don't, but we'll create some for you. But I said, can you send me some photos in? Because I'd love to work on them for your presets, but also to edit some photos. So these are Brian Trennan's photos. They're not mine, but they're Brian's. He does a lot of work underwater, does some great work, obviously. And I'm really looking forward to do some creative editing and to edit some unique pictures underwater that I would probably never see or do in my life, but get the blessing and a chance to do that. So let's dive right in. So this is, as you can see, there's a number of different pictures. We're gonna probably edit 2 or 3 of them. We'll see. First things first. What Brian's doing is he's using 2 lights, 2 flashes in the water to light up what he's photographing, obviously, because as you go in the water, the deeper you go, the darker it gets. Downside is when you're in the water, sometimes there's movement, whether it's zooming in and out or physical movement from the tide, and you can see that here. The center of the image is in focus, and the outsides have this sort of radial blur, and that is from movement. I can only speculate. Brian would know what happened, but it's something we can't fix, but it actually adds to the picture beautifully. So yeah, let's actually just play with the colors and we'll just see what we can come up with here. So when I import photos, I automatically have a sharpening preset applied to them because I love sharpening or images that are a little bit sharper. Doesn't mean not having a blurred out background, but it just means that the image itself are not going to be soft, that what's actually in focus will be sharp and what's blurred out will be blurred out. So let's go through here. So the first thing is I'm going to hit an auto adjustment just to see what Lightroom does, and it made it really bright, which is not ideal, but if I pull back my exposure here, it made it way more contrast. Just take a look here. So here's the before, here's the after, really minimal difference. So let's pull back some of our shadows and see a bit of blue. Don't want to lose that blue because that is pretty awesome. Add a bit of clarity. Pull those blacks back a bit and a little more clarity, a little more vibrance. Pull back the saturation just a hair. Looking really good. Now, this photo had a really great exposure, meaning a lot of times cameras, when you're using flash, what happens is permitting its auto white balance or its flash white balance, but usually the camera will adjust the white balance, meaning color of white, to that flash. So in reality, everything the flash touched is actually at the proper white balance. It's not too blue, not too orange, aside from the actual colors in the picture. So this is actually, there's no white balance adjustments to work with. Now, let's just say Brian liked a warmer picture. He can obviously add more warmth, and you can do the exact opposite in the blue side. But in reality, it was a really good white balance to start with. Looks really good. I'm like, how would I fix this and make adjustments? Fixing is subjective. It's more of just enhancing what Brian's taken. Looking at the before and after, this is the before, this is the after. All I've really done is basically brightened the photo up, reduced some of the shadows so you can see in some of the shadows here. Obviously before, after, so we can sort of see a little more depth in the photo, and just added some sharpness and enhanced a lot of the colors that exist in the photo, because we don't want to make it unrealistic, but we want to make sure that me personally, we can enhance this and really enjoy it. So yeah, this is a great picture. How big is it? Okay, so it's a huge image, 4,000 pixels. That's really good. So if we wanted to, we could actually just crop in a section of it and really reduce that that blur on the outside, but then it doesn't really do justice to what it really looks really cool with that blur, that unique movement. I like all of these elements in the photo help sell a picture, sell a story, and it looks really good. So look at the before, looking at the after, just a couple things. I'm gonna look back at this here to see how much grain we have, because it's actually really good there. I did do a bit of noise reduction to minimize the grain. So if I turn this off, you can see what it was. And you can see that there is a fair bit more grain, and the sharpness is gone. Whereas if I turn the sharpening back on and the noise reduction, you really grasp all the details of that beautiful piece of coral on top of the boat propeller itself. So looking really good. What if we added a bit of blue just to enhance that blue a little bit more? too bad. What happens is the little fish down here, if you notice here, they're reflecting the blue. It's just the natural the color is going on, and as you add or reduce blue, you see they have more blue reflecting off them, right? So it adds to it, but it's not terribly bad. What if we also create a new brush and start to add a bit of try to bring out a little more detail in that coral, or in the actual, see, this is a boat propeller, and I don't know where Brian took this picture, but it's a great picture. Really, really beautiful stuff. And if I do a bit of sharpening on here, I can hopefully bring out a little more of that detail, even a little bit of contrast, a little less contrast, more clarity, and bring out a little more of the detail in that. There we go. We even have a little more of the shadows happening from what we were looking at. And if I create another brush, because we don't want to affect the one we currently had, I probably can bring out a little more clarity and a little more white. Probably make this pop a little bit more. There you go. I think it looks pretty good. Before, after, it's looking really good. Obviously the before image, the after, if I look at what we're going on here, I think it looks pretty darn good. Really happy with that. Didn't take much to work with, but it's looking good. So if I look at my before and after here, so here's the before, here's the after. Really small things. So all I'm really doing is basically just enhancing Brian's picture, and this is out of camera, a raw image, and this is the way I would perceive it, but Brian may want it to be a little bit darker. In reality, it's completely subjective. I wanted to enhance the beautiful elements that he's got in this picture, and obviously on the left is what was in camera, what the camera captured, and then on the right is just the enhanced version, where we just make it a bit brighter, reduce the shadows so we can see a bit of the coral on the ground as well, and really enhance some of the details so we can really capture the beauty of what he captured there. So yeah, this is I'm only going to do one picture. I'll do some more videos, so stay tuned for that. But this photo, like I said, my friend Brian, thank you for submitting your work, Brian. And if you want your photos processed and edited by me, then send me an email. Go to FLT or freelighttutorials.com, send me an email, and I would love to get your pictures and process them for you. Obviously giving you all the credit, but I can't go to all places in the world despite wanting to edit all the photos in the world. So thanks again for watching and tuning in. My name is Matthew Shawnimal, and you have a great day.